As a Miao tribesman who never fully mastered the venom arts, I never imagined being pinned down by my own hand-raised pet. The icy serpentine tail coiled around my ankles as I stared in disbelief at the creature I'd nurtured since childhood, now materializing into human form. The silver-haired youth pressed his frigid body flush against mine, his inhuman beauty belying the coldness of his breath against my neck. "Brother," he murmured, lips grazing my earlobe, "you won't abandon me a third time." My protest came out strangled. "Ethan, can't breathe." The constricting tail loosened marginally, though not enough for true relief. "My apologies." Ethan spoke without remorse, tracing the shell of my ear with his tongue. "Can you blame me for being cautious? Your track record leaves much to be desired." I shuddered as frost patterns bloomed across my skin where he touched. How had things spiraled so terribly? It began when I found him as a thumb-sized serpent in the mountain forests. My mother insisted snakes made ideal venom familiars, intelligent and responsive. I named him Ethan, carrying him everywhere like living jewelry. He grew rapidly, unnervingly attuned to my every word. Then I discovered that ancient text. To forge blood-bound communion with your familiar, sustain it daily with your essence. The dubious instruction led me to nightly blood offerings, pricking my fingertips to feed the creature curled in my palm. The transformation occurred on an utterly ordinary afternoon. One moment I was stroking his scales, the next blinded by searing heat. When the light faded, a silver-haired youth pinned me beneath his glacial weight, all animal hunger and possessive fury. "Brother," he'd purred through our first violent joining, "you taste exactly as you smell, like home." Now his forked tongue darted out to catch my tear. "Why tremble? You said you'd stay." The bed creaked as his serpent half manifested, coils boxing me against the headboard. "Unless you're planning another escape?" I swallowed hard. His connection to my bloodstream made concealment impossible. Every racing heartbeat broadcasted my terror. The more I struggled, the tighter those gleaming scales constricted until darkness crept into my vision. Through feverish weeks of forced intimacy, I learned the cruel irony. The venom bond meant to control him had instead enslaved me. My blood nurtured this monster, and now he'd return the favor tenfold. That ancient text forgot to mention one crucial detail: never feed a snake your blood unless prepared to become its permanent nest. Since Ethan had only recently taken human form, his spiritual energy was limited. One sleepless night, I discovered he'd reverted to his serpent shape without warning. My heart pounded as I bolted from the room barefoot. Yet I knew this beast would keep hunting me unless dealt with permanently. Clutching the snake, I wandered until reaching the abandoned well at our village's edge, its bottom unseen by living memory. My childhood bond with Ethan stayed my hand. Instead of killing him, I dropped his coiled form into the dark shaft and walked away without looking back. The nightmares began immediately. Night after night, the massive serpent constricted my chest, scales rasping against my throat as that icy voice hissed in my ear. "Brother, why abandon me? Have I displeased you? Brother, why? Get off." I flailed awake, knuckles scraping against something cold and ridged. Not a dream. Moonlight revealed Ethan's human silhouette at my bedside, bloodless fingers closing around my wrist. "I only wish to stay with you," he murmured, pressing my trembling hand against his cheek. Those beautiful eyes betrayed their inhuman nature, twin pools of liquid mercury without warmth or mercy. "Change back," I demanded through chattering teeth. "You'd have me discard this form I worked centuries to achieve?" His grip tightened painfully. "Very well." White light shimmered around him as the snake reappeared, coiling possessively around my forearm like living jewelry. For days he played docile pet, draped across my shoulders during meals or curled beneath my pillow. The model companion, until our mountain excursion. The wolf came at dusk. Ethan's transformation came mid-leap, his human body intercepting the beast's lunge. I watched frozen as claws shredded his borrowed flesh, crimson spattering the ferns. Something primal took over, my sickle arced through the air, biting deep into matted fur. Hot blood sprayed my face as two bodies collapsed. The wolf was dead. Ethan Harper was also covered in wounds. My heart clenched with instinctive worry as I asked, "Ethan, are you okay? Please stay with me." Ethan shook his head, his silver hair catching moonlight. "Don't worry, Liam." He shifted back into his serpent form, coiling weakly in my palm. He'd gotten these injuries saving me. Yet here I stood, clueless about healing him. After days of applying herbal poultices, his golden eyes finally flickered open. His first words stunned me. Liam, can I bite you? Seriously? No. Your blood. He rasped. A faint smile touching his lips. It accelerates healing. I rolled up my sleeve. Instead of my wrist, he slowly crawled up my body and sank fangs into my neck. White-hot pain seared through me. If he hadn't just saved my life, I'd have. Now you bear my mark. He murmured against my throbbing skin, satisfaction lacing his voice. Freaking weirdo. The bastard hadn't mentioned these marks were permanent. Whatever venom he'd injected left an indigo scar resembling snake scales that refused to fade. He'd nuzzle it obsessively during intimate moments. When Ethan fully recovered, he pestered me daily about wild raspberries. I finally caved, taking him to the thickets where we bumped into Ryan. My childhood neighbor grinned. Liam. Big news, some hotshots visiting next week. Rumor says he'll take smart kids to study in the city. My breath caught. Seriously? You should try out. Ryan urged. With your brains? You'll ace it. I wandered home in a daze, mind spinning with visions of skyscrapers and neon lights. Ethan's sudden human form startled me. Would you leave? His fingers dug into my shoulders. Change back. They'll burn you as a monster. What? Yeah. Leave. I've always wanted out. His grip tightened. Don't go, Ethan. If you sabotage this, I'll never forgive you. I'd never. His forehead pressed against mine. Take me with you. Take a shape-shifting serpent to the city? The idea never crossed my mind. But then again, he was just a snake, right? But he wasn't. I couldn't fathom the consequences if his true form were discovered. Still, I feigned compliance. If I can leave, I'll take you with me. Then you must keep your word, brother. I failed to honor that promise. Days later, the elder they called headmaster selected me. Having been the most literate from years of reading, I trembled with excitement. The departure in 3 days posed one enormous problem, Ethan. Ryan came to congratulate me with wine. Lee, I always knew you'd make it. Thanks, Ryan. Once I settle in the city, I'll bring you there. Drink with me tonight. Who knows when we'll meet again after you leave? As cups emptied, my worries surfaced. How would you deal with snakes? Lee. Ryan laughed. Sulfur. You're supposed to be Native American. Sulfur. Of course. My pulse raced. Could I make Ethan ingest sulfur wine? 1 day's delay would let me vanish beyond his reach. The night before departure, I stumbled into our cabin reeking of alcohol. Brother, celebrate with me. Ethan wiped wine from my lips. Gaze tender. As you wish. I'd laced his cup with sulfur. The acrid scent lingered. Yet when he lifted the poison chalice, his dark eyes held fathomless understanding. For one heart-stopping moment, I thought he'd seen through me. He drank. Agony contorted his features as he collapsed. When I turned to flee, his hand clawed my hem. Liam. He rasped. No matter where you run, I tore free. His curse chasing me into the night, a vow that would haunt us both. The city overwhelmed my senses. Adapting took 2 months. Dorm life felt alien after years alone with Ethan, though kind roommates eased the transition. Routine settled in, yet Ethan's memory persisted. The sulfur dose had been small. With his spiritual energy, the harm shouldn't last. Still, he must despise me. Strangely, whenever I nearly forgot him, Ethan invaded my dreams, sometimes watching silently, other times entwining around me like smoke. Lately, the visions intensified. Night after night, he haunted my dreams. The faint hissing of snakes whispered in my ears as something cold and slick trailed across my face, leaving damp streaks. I awoke gasping, disoriented to find my own tears staining the pillow. Lee. My roommate called from the bathroom sink the next morning, toothpaste foaming at his mouth. You were talking in your sleep again. My throat tightened. What did I say? Kept mumbling some name starting with E. Ethan? Sounded like you were begging someone not to leave. He wiggled his eyebrows. Secret crush keeping you up? You know what they say. No. I cut him off too quickly. Hands raised in protest. Just weird nightmares. The dreams only worsened. Serpentine whispers now followed me into waking hours. Phantom scales brushing my ankles during lectures. Dark circles bloomed beneath my eyes like bruises. You look like death warmed over. My roommate remarked during midterms week, squinting at my trembling hands. Seriously? When's the last time you slept through the night? I hesitated. Do you think, could there be snakes in the dorms? He barked out laughter. In downtown Chicago? You'd hear freshmen screaming from here to Lake Michigan. Yet that very night, long after the campus quieted for winter break, icy pressure coiled around my bare calf. My phone clattered to the mattress as the familiar weight slithered upward, not dreamt, but horrifyingly real. Ethan. I choked out. Moonlight from the window caught the smirk playing on Ethan's lips as he materialized beside me, black hair falling like silk across my pillow. The phone's glow illuminated his unnaturally slitted pupils. Miss me, Liam? His breath smelled of frost and apple seeds. Cold fingers traced my jaw. I nearly let you keep trembling through finals week. But these shadows under your eyes. His thumb pressed against my racing pulse. It breaks my heart to see you so frayed. The truth crashed over me, every midnight whisper. Every phantom touch. He'd never left. Oh. I rasped. Paralyzed as his forked tongue flickered against my earlobe. The binding ritual. I destroyed the artifacts. Ethan's laughter vibrated against my throat. Silly little sacrifice. Our blood mingled under the harvest moon. Remember? His teeth grazed my collarbone where the scar still throbbed. You can't sever what's woven into bone marrow, darling. Not in this life. Not in 100. The Serpent King's coils tightened possessively as the truth sank in, his venom already flowing through my veins. Our fates irrevocably entwined. I found it hard to breathe. You're holding me too tight. Loosen up, I'm just afraid you might run away again. I instinctively reassured him. I won't run anymore. Where could I even go? But you've lost all credibility with me. No matter where I go, you'd find me anyway. Right, Ethan? Fine. The serpent boy grumbled, relaxing his grip slightly. Anyway, I've already tracked you down. Don't even think about ditching me a third time. He remembered everything with crystal clarity. Every time I'd abandoned him. Every rejection he kept perfect score. My emotions tangled as I lay awake all night, listening to his shallow breathing beside me. Early next morning, I took Ethan off campus. You can't possibly live in my dorm, I stated firmly. Not even as a snake. Our building doesn't allow pets. Then what am I supposed to do? What if I hide and never come out? I scratched my head irritably. No. What if someone discovers you? Listen, I'll find you an off-campus apartment. What about you? I'll figure that out later. I evaded. House hunting proved difficult, especially finding decent short-term rentals. Just as I hit dead ends, Marcus messaged me, frowny face, saw your social media post about apartment hunting. My friend has a vacant unit near a university. Let me know if interested. I immediately replied, yes please. Marcus had helped me tremendously since freshman orientation. Over time, we'd become close. The apartment he recommended exceeded expectations with shockingly low rent. Feeling awkward about the favor, I tried declining until Marcus suggested, if you insist on repayment, help out at my new bar. We're short-staffed anyway. I eagerly agreed. After securing the place, I promptly installed Ethan there. Stay put and don't wander around. Understand? This isn't our village, break any rules here and I can't protect you. Ethan gazed up obediently, silver hair catching the light as he nodded. Noticing he still wore traditional tribal garments, I urged him to shower, handing over fresh clothes. He disappeared into the bathroom before calling out moments later, how does this work? All right. I face-bombed and opened the door to find him naked under the shower head. Avoiding eye contact, I explained, red knob for hot, blue for cold. Got it? Cold's fine. Whatever. The water stopped almost immediately. Hearing him emerge, I glanced up and froze. Modern clothes transformed him into an ethereal beauty, his damp silver hair and unearthly features resembling some fantasy cosplayer. The serpent boy mirrored my own wide-eyed wonder when I first arrived in this world, fingers curiously poking at every household object. Ethan, I called, unable to watch his dripping hair soak the furniture. Come here. I plugged in the hairdryer, determined to civilize this feral creature one modern convenience at a time. Ethan tilted his head curiously. Liam, what's this? Something to dry your hair faster. The whirring hairdryer began blowing warm air through his long locks. That's so cool. All right, I said softly. Time for bed. As I stood up, Ethan grabbed my sleeve with damp puppy dog eyes. Where are you going? Liam? Back to campus. Dorm curfew. I want you to stay. He tightened his grip when I tried pulling free. Can't. Please? My resolve crumbled inexplicably when our eyes met. It was winter break anyway, one night wouldn't matter. Fine. Let go so I can shower. He clung to me like a koala when we settled into bed. But for the first time, I didn't struggle. This persistent creature had somehow become part of my ecosystem. Sleep claimed me instantly. Morning brought Ethan nuzzling my neck with sleep-warm cheeks. I jolted awake when his hands wandered. Stop that. But we haven't. My salvation rang through the buzzing tension. Lee. My roommate's voice boomed through the phone. We felt bad ditching you for Christmas. Be outside in 5. We're doing surprise dorm Christmas. I glanced at Ethan's pouting face after hanging up. The words slipped out before I could reconsider. Wanna come? His answer came faster than a Snapchat reply. Not one word unless spoken to. I warned as we approached the group. Lee. Who's the hottie? My roommate slung an arm around me. My brother Ethan. Multiple eyebrows shot up. Harper. Like the tech moguls? Total smoke show. Bet you've got girls lining up. Love the platinum hair. Dude. Ethan remained silent as a TikTok mute button. He's not big on crowds. I explained. Pretty privilege. Someone laughed. Any food allergies? No alcohol. My knee jerked under the table. The entire meal felt like chewing through a cloud of awkwardness. Post-dinner? An arm draped over my shoulders. Basketball? Bring your Ken doll. Ethan answered before I could decline. Sure. Hey, what are we waiting for? Let's go. I couldn't understand why Ethan had agreed to this. He clearly didn't know the first thing about basketball. Lost in thought, Ethan tugged my sleeve. Liam, can you tie my hair up? I absent-mindedly pulled the hair tie from my wrist and secured his ponytail. My roommate clapped my shoulder. Liam, you're practically glowing with maternal vibes. I laughed and shoved him. Get lost. Fine. Leaving. Game time. When I turned around, Ethan was watching my roommate with an unreadable expression. My stomach dropped. As Ethan moved toward the court, I instinctively grabbed his arm. Are you sure about this? I don't want you getting hurt. Don't worry, Liam. Ethan remained unscathed. The casualty turned out to be my roommate. Ethan had knocked him over. We rushed him to the infirmary, relieved to find only minor bruises. The guy shrugged it off. Your buddy's got some serious strength. But it was clearly an accident. He's still learning, no hard feelings. Ethan hung his head. The picture of remorse. I couldn't tell if this act was genuine. Just like I couldn't determine whether that collision had been intentional. All I knew was I needed to remove Ethan from this situation immediately. I'm sorry, Liam. You shouldn't apologize to me. But you seem angry. Ethan. Was that really? It was an accident. His eyes met mine. Crystalline with innocence. Don't you trust me? Should I? Ethan stepped forward and wrapped his arms around me. He pressed his lips against the bite mark on my neck, nuzzling the sensitive skin. I didn't like how close you were with them. But I'd never hurt anyone on purpose. I know that would make you mad. His porcelain features radiated sincerity as he whispered, We're family. Don't you believe me? Exhaling slowly, I relented. All right, I'll believe you this time. But be more careful. From then on, I avoided taking Ethan anywhere public. This quickly backfired. You're never around anymore. Guilt prickled my conscience. I'd promised Marcus I'd help at his new bar during weekends, leaving little time for Ethan. I'll switch to off-campus housing next semester. We'll have more time then? Okay. Ethan pressed closer, his breath warm against my collarbone. You'd better keep that promise. True to his word, Marcus didn't go easy on me. The newly opened bar was swamped with customers during its grand opening promotion. I was swamped all night without a moment's rest. Waiter. Over here. I immediately called out. The customer who'd summoned me wore an aggressive expression, clearly intoxicated. I forced a polite smile. How can I assist you, sir? You've brought me 4 different drinks and none taste right. Can't you mix a proper cocktail? Maintaining composure, I explained. Our recipes follow industry standards, though taste preferences can vary. Cut the bullshit. The man shattered his glass. His eyes raked over me. You're not bad looking. Kiss me and I'll let this slide. As his hands groped toward me, I dodged with rising panic. Sir, control yourself. You little bitch, His slur cut off when Marcus Sullivan appeared, coldly intercepting the drunk's wrist. "He's my boyfriend," Marcus stated. The drunk sized up Marcus's athletic build, muttered obscenities, and staggered away. "Lee, go home early," Marcus said. "We're slow tonight anyway." Nodding, I headed to the locker room. Shrugging off my uniform, I froze seeing Ethan Harper leaning against the doorframe. "Why are you here?" I demanded. "I told you to stay home." I sensed your fear. His expression remained neutral. "Who was that man claiming to be your partner?" Exhaustion made me brusque. "We'll talk at home." Ethan stayed ominously quiet during the walk. When had he arrived? During the harassment? Or when Marcus pretended to be my boyfriend? The latter. At our apartment. I preempted his jealousy. Tonight was a misunderstanding. Marcus helped me handle a drunk. Nothing more. Understood. To my surprise, Ethan simply kissed my forehead. "I trust you." Relief made me bold. I kissed him properly. His hand cradled my neck, deepening the contact before murmuring, "Good night, Lee." Marcus gave me the following week off. When I texted him about my new schedule days later, his phone was answered by a stranger. Marcus got hit by a hit-and-run biker. At Mercy General. My entire body jolted with fear. The hospital revealed Marcus with one leg in a cast suspended in a sling. Some idiot cyclist plowed into me in a surveillance blind spot. He grumbled. Ice filled my veins. Could this be? I returned home to find Ethan serving steaming stir-fry. "Welcome back." He smiled. Apron strings tied neatly behind him. "Dinner's ready." Ethan had recently developed an obsession with cooking, experimenting with new dishes for me every day. I stood frozen. "I need to ask you something, and I want an honest answer." "Ethan, what's this about?" Ethan arched an eyebrow, the playful glint in his hazel eyes dimming. "You look like someone died. Was it you behind Marcus' hit and run?" The remaining warmth drained from his face. "Do you really think I'd do that, Liam? Answer the question. Even if I said no, you wouldn't believe me anyway." Ethan closed the distance between us, his pupils contracting into reptilian slits. "Why bother asking when you've already convicted me in that self-righteous mind of yours?" His breath ghosted over my lips as he whispered, "Suppose I did ruin that pretty boy's legs. What exactly could you do about it?" The calculated nonchalance in his tone made me tremble. "Is this your game? Every time I get close to someone, you maim them? Drive them away until I'm trapped in these godforsaken backwoods with only your monstrous self for company? You want me chained to this miserable existence forever, don't you?" My voice broke. "I regret ever finding you in those woods." The aromatic coke au vin between us had gone cold. Ethan methodically untied his apron, shoulders rigid. He stepped over where I'd collapsed on the kitchen tiles, slamming the front door hard enough to rattle the copper pans. 3 days later at the hospital discharge, Marcus grinned through his leg cast. "Lee, they caught the bastard who ran me over." "Guess who?" My palms slicked with sweat. "Oh, that creep who groped you at the brewery last week." Marcus fumed. "Fucking coward, couldn't face me like a man. Had to pull underhanded shit." "What did you say?" My coffee cup shattered on the pavement. "Last Thursday night, after trivia night." Marcus trailed off, noticing my pallor. "You okay, man? Forgot something urgent." I barely choked out. "Text me when you get home safe." I sprinted toward the taxi stand, acid burning my throat. Ethan hadn't returned since our fight. Not even when I'd left his favorite chocolate croissants by the chimney. The woods swallowed me whole at dusk. Brambles tore my jeans as I shouted until my voice cracked. "Ethan, please. I'm sorry." My knees gave out beneath an ancient oak. "I shouldn't have doubted you. Come home," the forest answered with cicada drones. Stumbling through moonlit thickets, I caught my bootlace on a root. The impact knocked my breath out, yet no familiar hands caught me this time. Ethan used to fuss over paper cuts. Now my bloodied palms meant nothing. A distant engine roar pierced the night. Headlights swerved around the bend, illuminating the deer frozen in the road, and the familiar figure shoving it to safety with preternatural speed. After a while, a flash of white light passed. I was thrown to the ground by a great force. But I didn't feel any pain because someone tightly protected my head and most of my body. We didn't stop rolling until we had gone several rounds. Was Ethan? "Ethan, you don't know." I didn't want to hear what he had to say. I just wanted to hug him tightly. I reached out and hugged the young man in front of me firmly. Ethan stopped speaking abruptly. Sorry. Ethan. A moment later, I felt Ethan slowly raise his hand and stroke my back. Don't apologize anymore, Liam. I'm not mad at you. I'm just a bit angry. Do you really think that a random person is more important and trustworthy than me in your heart? I didn't think so. Suddenly, I didn't know what to say. I didn't think so. But why did I act that way? I had just brushed past death. I was cold, scared, and trembling all over. My mind almost stopped working. What on earth are we to each other? I murmured. Ethan didn't say a word. He picked me up from the ground. There were many tiny cuts on his body. I gently stroked them. Does it hurt? No, Liam. I put my arms around his neck and buried my face in his chest. This road seemed so long. So long. I took a nap in the car. In a daze, it was Ethan who carried me out of the car and back home. It was kind of funny. I was the one who had done something wrong. I was the one who went out to look for him. But in the end, it was Ethan who brought me back. I felt as if I had lost the ability to move. I sat on the sofa woodenly. Ethan filled the bathtub with hot water. Only when I got into it did I feel that my numb limbs regained some feeling. He was a quick learner. Now he could take good care of me, wipe my body, dress me, and dry my hair. Amid the continuous buzzing sound, I heard his voice. Liam asked what our relationship is. We grew up together. We're connected by blood and understand each other's minds. Of course, we should be lovers. I blinked my eyes before I realized that he was answering my question at that time. Lovers? Who else can I love besides you, Liam? Ethan leaned closer to me, and his slightly cool breath hit my ear. I want to take you back to the Miao area and marry you. Yes. What's the problem? We should be lovers. Lovers. After that incident, I no longer hid Ethan. Instead, I often took him around openly. Sometimes I took him to sit in on my classes, or took him out to play, had meals together, and went on dates like ordinary lovers. Even my roommate joked that we were like Siamese twins. Lee, is your brother planning to stay in Cydia permanently? Yes. He'll always be with me. I smiled and said calmly, sorry. Actually, I lied to you guys. Ethan isn't my brother. He's my lover. The moment the words left my lips, deathly silence fell around us. Even Ethan froze at my declaration, his eyes widening slightly as he turned to stare at me. After the initial shock, my roommate began recovering. Damn. I always thought you two acted weird around each other, right? You don't look like actual brothers anyway. Just coincidence you share the same last name, right? Mitchum. I entwined my fingers with Ethan's. Pure coincidence. His gaze hadn't strayed from me since I'd spoken. That evening, the second our front door clicked shut, Ethan pressed me against the entryway wall. Liam. What? His breath came uneven. Why announce it so suddenly? I carted my fingers through his silken hair. You're the poison I've nurtured since childhood. My beautiful monster. Our foreheads touched. We share flesh and blood, heartbeat and breath. You were right, who else could we ever love? Ethan crashed his lips against mine before I finished speaking. This time, I kissed back with equal fervor. We should return to the mountains. He panted against my mouth moments later. Marry me properly there, Liam. Let's have the wedding ceremony. This marked his second proposal. Our serpent familiar coiled tighter around my wrist as if reinforcing his plea. The creature had grown alongside our relationship, responding to commands with uncanny intelligence. All right. I traced Ethan's kiss-swollen lips. I accept. Ethan's obsession with traditional Miao nuptials wasn't baseless. Our ancestral customs required exchanging vows before the mountain god and undergoing the bonding ritual, a shared poison that would lethally punish betrayal. Perhaps my past abandonment still haunted him. I didn't mind indulging this insecurity. We returned to the village immediately after graduation. True to form, Ethan dragged me to the sacred grove our second day back. Worse, he'd somehow memorized embarrassingly flowery Chinese poetry for the occasion. When peach blossoms first brightened spring's face, he began with theatrical solemnity. I kicked his shin. Idiot serpent, it's autumn. Couldn't you at least match the season? His laughter echoed through the misted peaks. You'll handle the scholarly parts, Liam. Maybe our fate had been sealed years ago when I'd found that injured hatchling. The bond forged through shared blood and poison defied all separation. As our wrists pressed together during the ritual, twin serpents emerged to taste mingled blood. Ethan's smile glowed brighter than the ceremonial flames. Ours wasn't a love story. This was symbiosis.